Hey, it's Guinevere, and since I don't know if I have anybody yet, I've decided I'm going to start with something I read earlier today that I thought was really beautiful. And it is from I'm just going to show you what it's from. I have a Wee Moon 2018. Here, let me make it so that you can see it. And that's how I keep track of my schedule a lot of the times or what's going on astrologically. And I read this beautiful passage earlier today. Hello, Stacy. I read this beautiful passage, and so I'm going to share it with you guys, okay? Here is what it says. It is called Love's Living Will, and it's written by Amanda Benasak in 2015, and I hope that I did not pronounce her name wrong because this is a very beautiful little poem. Hey, darling. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is just for your guys' entertainment while we're waiting for people to join us. I wrapped my love in a red bandana and tied it to an old smooth broom handle. I packed my love in a cardboard copy paper box and covered it with crumpled newspaper. I secured my love in a black leather briefcase with a brass handle and an 8-digit code. I folded my love into a tidy clutch purse with a tube of bright lipstick that really wasn't my color. It had grasped and stuck like a blackberry bramble to the ragged denim cuffs of one person who paused too long. It has revealed first its shoulder, then its knee, then a bare arm from behind a folded screen, like an amateur and an earnest burlesque dancer, and gasped and hummed when touched in that way for the first time and the 5th time and the 5,000th time. It has pulled one stone after another in front of its shallow cave and curled up into a ball with a thick skin and sharp needles on the outside for what it was thought was forever, and then been coaxed into swaying and grinning and showing soft belly, possibly courage, remembering what it likes by a person with sure hands and a sure heart. My love is one pre-Big Bang speck, a dense, unfathomable mystery, held in a letter-size white envelope, with milkweed seeds, stardust, and surrender. I want when this is all over that these grains and sparks are tipped into an open palm and cast high, to catch hold of a stiff breeze and spin out, to swirl in nebulas, to chase barn swallows, to lift the corn silk hair of a child digging a hole in the sand of the beach, and to find a few bits of yours to bump and tumble for approximately eternity. As you can see, that's just very beautiful. I hope you enjoyed it. So I just wanted to open with this beautiful little poem, Love's Living Will, about somebody who obviously wanted to share their vulnerabilities and the moments in their life that were hard, but still expanded their heart. So our oracle is pretty exciting. By the way, I'm saying hi to Omira. I just saw that she popped in and said hello to me. Thank you, Omira, beautiful one. Okay, so this is a big one, and it's a good one, and it's a beautiful one, and I want you guys to focus. I want you to focus your attentions, because this is going to be a little bit of lesson time with Guinevere. It's not just your typical oracle, so I'll be talking about the different things that are coming up in the sense of what do we need to process, what do we need to open up within our hearts and our lives, and how best can we move forward in a time of dramatic change and many different things taking place in the world that we're all influenced or affected by on one level or another. So let's talk about our eyes, okay? I want to talk to you all about your eyes. We all know that when we eat food with our mouths. We're all perfectly aware of that. But did you know that your eyes also consume information? Your eyes are mouths. They're mouths to your soul. They're mouths to your heart. They're mouths to your mind. And if I'm going to use the word beleaguer your eyes nonstop with only things that cause you pain, then what you see is what you're digesting, what you're believing, and then what you're taking in is not going to be helpful. So you want to make sure that as you're starting to take in information around you, that turning a blind eye is not what I'm talking about. but I am talking about making sure you have a healthy diet, that you're making sure to observe, see, seek out beauty, seek out good things, seek out things that are going to actually expand you from the inside into your community. So let's jump on in. Let's talk about this oracle. It's special because it's about soul tribes. It's about how we know who we're related to via blood, because we basically, most of us, know our mothers and fathers, and sometimes grandparents. And some people don't have that psychological lineage. They are adopted, and so it's more of a mystery, and they know their adopted lineage. But regardless, we basically know which family has taken us in, whether it was a birth family or another family. And so we're very connected with the idea of, I am either very connected with my family, or maybe I'm not very connected with my family. And that's part of what we work on in life, is our familial connections. Well, there's also soul family, and soul family is calling us out right now. We're being asked to find and connect with our soul families so that we can expand in beautiful ways. So soul family is the actual theme here. Now, getting rooted with your soul family, when sometimes it's hard to understand that a soul family is going to challenge you, is not always going to be an easy thing, because soul family will resonate with your mission. You'll have a mission, something that you desire, some sort of calling, and your soul family's hearing the same calling. They're on the same mission. They're going the same direction. And just because they're on the same mission doesn't necessarily mean they're soul family. You know they're soul family because they resonate with you, they connect with you. But sometimes you don't know who's in your family. Sometimes your family can be ephemeral. Sometimes they can be hard to understand or hard to grasp. Maybe they're older sisters and older brothers. And so there might be a slight disconnect there. Right now, what's going on spiritually is we're being asked to go deep into what that means for us. How can we contribute to our communities? How can we connect more with each other? How can we be kinder to each other? That's important. That's part of what we need to be doing right now, is be kinder to each other. Regardless of the family you're born into, you're surrounded by family, invisible. You're surrounded by family that you know. For instance, when you meet a best friend and you're friends with that best friend for your whole lifetime, maybe from childhood to your whole lifetime, that's part of your soul family. That's part of your direction in life. So that's a really easy example. But higher, more interesting examples are when you're in the middle of something sacred to yourself, and the family is called to you in the midst of you doing something sacred to yourself. That's the area we're supposed to be aligning to now, is the area where we can embrace each other, the area where we can love each other, and the area where we can even ease the pains that are within each other, because there is generations of people out there who are still dealing with being buffeted with cruelty, bullies, harsh behaviors. And if we don't connect and reach out to each other, then what we're really doing is we're leaving out part of our family. And I'm not saying connect with somebody you can't connect with. That's obviously not what I'm talking about. This is a spiritual energy. It's the desire to be seen, the desire to see. And again, we're back to consuming with your eyes. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit about the notes I had about the eyes, because I just want to make sure that you guys aren't lost on that one, because I could imagine that that could happen. And so I wrote notes so that I don't forget important bits, and on go my fantastic glasses so that I can see what I'm doing, because I can't without my fantastic glasses. So here we go. Yeah. So I actually started with a couple questions that I want you to ask yourself about, like, what you're choosing to see, what you're choosing to focus on. What are you consuming? What are you consuming? Is it hurting you? Is it helping you? Is it motivating you? You need to ask yourself those questions. If you've found yourself to be addicted to consuming things that are of, I'm going to say, a lower nature, a darker nature. Let's say you binge watch somebody bitch slapping somebody else. I don't know. I'm just using a silly example. But if that's what you're consuming, that's going to be what you start to adopt within you as normal. It's normalizing what you consume. And it's like junk food. It's a junk food diet. It's not going to grow you. One of the reasons why I started with the poem, love's living will is because we need to connect back with love. We are too connected to, I'm going to use the term drama and circuses. So we have to recognize if we're binge watching drama and circuses, then our life becomes drama and circuses. What are you consuming with your eyes? So that was the first question I wrote here. What are you seeing? Because that's what you're going to believe. You know, when somebody goes, I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it, or seeing is believing. Well, unfortunately, seeing is not actually, seeing and believing actually can be bought very quickly. Eyes connect. I saw it. It's true. But that doesn't necessarily make anything particularly true. It's a good reminder there. So I want you to keep in mind that, you know, what you're seeing becomes what you believe. What you're seeing becomes what you believe. I want you to just keep remembering that, because if you're seeing things that you're starting to believe and starting to adopt within yourself that are hurting you, then you are eating junk food. So remember, your eyes can eat junk food just as quickly as your mouth can eat junk food. And if you eat too much junk food with your eyes, with your ears, with your consciousness, then you're going to feel sick. And then you're going to feel like you're being buried or like underneath something very heavy. And so I don't want that for you guys. So I wrote here as another note, because I was just kind of riffing notes because I didn't want to forget any of this about the eyes. You want a visual and healthy diet. Okay, that does not mean, this is where I said that this does not mean casting a blind eye. If you're going to do a visually healthy diet, that means, let's say, reading inspiring material, watching inspiring films and documentaries, looking at beautiful artwork that lifts you up. And if we're going to use ears as another way of consuming, listening to music that is inspiring, and so on and so forth, right? Now, not treating a blind eye is recognizing, like I said, buffeted by the winds of life around us, the energies that make us feel like things are down, bringing us down. And when we look around us, the people who are suffering that we're aware are suffering. So if you're not going to cast a blind eye, if you're feeling healthy because you've actually sustained yourself with forest gazing or looking at beautiful artwork or whatever, then you're more capable of taking your eyes and giving hope to others. You can give inspiration and hope. You can lift. And I'm asking you to do that because that's what we're looking at in that spiritual energy of reconnecting with each other, is to lift people high. Lift people high. Don't push them low, because this is not the time to be doing that. So that's important. Now, one of the other notes I wrote, which is kind of, I'll call it one of my sassy notes because I can be that way sometimes. I wrote, spiritual bypassing needs to be examined with eyes turned inward to source of love and beauty. Now, spiritual bypassing, let me explain that to you so that you're really clear on this. Spiritual bypassing is when you use euphoria and ecstasy and spiritual states of mind to decide that you are going to skip your human nature, which is here. You are here. So part of your human nature is to nurture. Part of nature is nurturing, taking care of your friends, your family, your loved ones. But it goes beyond that. Again, we're talking spiritual family. This whole oracle is about spiritual family. So don't spiritually bypass. If you see somebody's in pain, take a moment if they allow it. Now, my last oracle, I talked to people about asking permission. Always ask permission. Never just put your ideas, thoughts, motivation, no matter how well-meaning you think it is, onto somebody without their permission. It's important that you ask permission. It's important that if you see somebody's hurting and you want to give a hand, ask if they want a hand. And if they don't want a hand, then, you know, humbly take their no as they're being very strong and very certain of themselves. But don't use your spirituality to disconnect. Disconnection is something that people will do frequently when they get spiritual or awakened, or they have a vision of some sort. And it's important that you allow yourself to stay connected and stay in a state of grace with others, instead of a state of grace where who cares what happens to others, because you should care, because those others are you. You're the others. You understand that, right? You're somebody's other. So there's you, you're aware of you, you're like, me, this is what I do. And when you're thinking, who cares what happens to other people? Okay, you are other people. So you should hope somebody's caring and lift that energy high. Okay, so that's part of that note. Now let me see if there's something I am forgetting. My glasses are always so crooked. Maybe my face is crooked. Anyway, so I am asking you to seek more love and beauty, but I'm making the note to don't ignore somebody who's suffering. Take a moment, ask them if they want some kindness, a hug, a good word, a cup of coffee. Just be kind, okay? Just work on kindness. Just try. 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 You might like it, okay? Okay. Jeez. Okay, so this whole thing about the eyes is all about digesting positive things. So I want you to remember, digest positive things. Otherwise, you are going to get sick. You're going to feel like everything is unsolvable, that nothing can ever change. And I hear that all the time. And that's not actually the case. So let's go diving into the actual oracle itself. And it's very, very, very magical. It's a wizard's need apply. Okay. It's a literal wizard's need apply oracle, and muggles welcome. Now, what that means to me is if you're already in some sort of journey or path that's supporting you, that you feel like is really kind of starting to lift you and take you in the right direction, then this is the time to do it. And this is the time to invite people to do it with you. This is the time to connect and invite people to do group work. And it's a magical time. For real, it's a magical time. So if you think of yourself as a magical person, it's a good time to raise that energy. I mean, we're in a beautiful cycle. First off, we're in the new moon, and it's moving toward full moon. And we go into soon to be May 1st, Beltane, May Day, which is a beautiful spring energy. And so all of this is calling us to raise ourselves in a beautiful, loving manner, okay? So it's interesting to me because I'm glancing over at my cards. They're down on my table. It's interesting to me that I'm asking you to turn inward and outward at the same time, but you do have to keep in mind that you're capable of holding both. You do it every single day. You think your thoughts and you still engage with other people, turning inward, coming outward. Spiritual family will support you when you ask for help. Okay, so you have that noted. Stay rooted and connected to your best ability. And if the spiritual family is kind of doing an uproar or anything, it's really important to face what you consider scary and have conversations that are opening. Opening conversations don't shut people down. They allow lots of dialogue to take place. They allow lots of intelligence to pass. It's like you sit and you listen to what the other person has to say. You gain a chance to learn something you never knew. And so I'm asking you to do that, even if you feel challenged. I'm asking you to recognize that there are things that you, of course, don't know that you could benefit from knowing, and that somebody sitting immediate to your left or immediate to your right might know what you're looking for. And that's part of the alchemy and synchronicity of connecting with others. So we're supposed to be magical with each other, which means include people in what you're doing, include people in what you're seeing and experiencing if it's something that you feel like is uplifting. We're supposed to be connecting with spiritual family. We're supposed to be facing what's scary, okay? So if you're experiencing something that's challenging and scary and you feel like it's insurmountable, again, doing all this alone, it's an isolationist kind of approach. If you're doing everything by yourself and expecting to go through your lessons like at the speed of lightning, then you're literally paddling this boat all by yourself. I don't know if any of you have seen a dragon boat before, but a dragon boat has all these people. They're all paddling together and they're zipping through the water at the speed of light. And they're breathing with each other and they're pulling with each other and they're feeling the elements of the water itself, the weather itself, the connection with each other's energy. And they go like lightning, okay? It's a together thing. We're in this together. If you want to take your little boat and paddle by yourself with just one oar, you might find yourself spinning in circles and wondering why it's all happening exactly the same as it happened before, and the day after that, and the day after that. I get when people want to be independent. I get when you want to do it yourself, okay? But if you're struggling, you need to make sure that you're making connections. You need to make sure that you're seeking people of like mind with open hearts and open warmth within them, because that's important. Naysayers, right? Naysayers, they're everywhere. People who go, whatever you're doing is stupid, whatever you want is stupid, whatever you desire is stupid, and wherever you're going is stupid, right? We all know who those people are. We've all met them. We all have them in our families. We all have them with some friends. It's like a little reminder that it's not like escapable. You can't avoid people who are going to decide that they're going to cast an opinion on what you're doing. Well, that's an opinion. Everybody's entitled to one. It's amazing how that works. So what you want to do is make sure to lean on and care for the people who are kindest to you. Lean on and care for the people who inspire your thinking. Do you have a mentor? If you don't, it's a good time to find a mentor. Do you have a good group that listens to you when you're in suffering and they don't demean you, make fun of you, call you names, or tell you you can't do something, but they give you practical, constructive advice? Stick with that group. You understand? Stick with that group. Because that's how we lift ourselves out of the paddling in circles all by ourselves. Okay. Sure, sometimes we can come up with something brilliant. And when we do, why are you hiding it? Are you hiding it? Did you come up with something beautiful and now you're hiding it because somebody else, somebody who has a porcupine up their ass told you that you weren't good, and so you listened to that one porcupine up the ass person and you came up with something you think is at least funny or interesting to you? Run it by some people. Find your fans. They're out there. There's going to always be the people who don't like what you have to say, don't like what you have to do. And there's always going to be people who really love what you're sharing with them, and they need it and they were waiting for it. Do any of you guys remember being in school and they'd be like, does anybody have a question? And you'd be like, I'm not going to ask a question, because if I ask a question, people here are going to think I'm stupid, that I don't understand the lesson plan. And then that one really brave person would raise their hand and they'd say, I don't understand this part of the lesson plan, right? And you just be so relieved because it was the question you would have asked if you weren't afraid of being kind of put in the corner, and you're just grateful somebody asked what you wanted to ask, right? So it's like that. Remember, we're all sensitive. We all have feelings. We can all be pinpricked and shy if somebody's been cruel to us. But that doesn't mean everyone is going to be cruel to you, and that doesn't mean everybody isn't seeking the same things. Because in the end, you know what everybody's seeking? Love. You don't believe that? Look around you. Everybody's seeking love. So you seeking love, be more loving. It's a good policy. Anyway, so work on the soul relationships, work on soul tribe, work on finding your magical magicians. And if you're a muggle, and I know who you are, if you're out there muggling me right now, and I know who you are, then I'm going to say to you, you are invited to join something that could be amazing for you, could be very enlightening for you, maybe of no interest whatsoever, but you never know until you try. If you never tried ice cream, you wouldn't know it was sweet. You also wouldn't know you had a dairy intolerance. So you know what? You got to try things in life. So muggles, there is magic happening around you every single day, and you're missing out on it because you shut it down, because you don't listen. So don't muggle, okay? Don't muggle. I know I'm speaking Harry Potter-ese here, but it's wizard time. Aggression. Let's talk about aggression, okay? Now, the reason why I want to talk about aggression very specifically is because it's in our power right now. And aggression has a purpose. It serves a purpose. It's supposed to motivate you, okay? Aggression helps us go deep into something that's calling our name, something that needs to be healed. It's called shadow work, okay? If you're feeling angry and tired and frustrated, if these things are happening, then that's what's being called to be healed. It's not more excuse to be angry and tired and frustrated. It's an excuse to look at where your wound is. It's an excuse to embrace your shadow, give love and forgiveness to something that's causing you harm on the inside. I don't know if it's the Dalai Lama, so I'm not sure if I'm quoting the Dalai Lama right now, but somebody said, if you're thinking hateful thoughts, it's like drinking a cup of poison. You understand? It's in you, right? That's back to the digesting with the eyes, digesting with the ears, digesting with the mouth. It's in you. If all you can think of is hateful things, it's in you. And that's going to feel like poison. You're drinking your own cup of poison. So what you want to do is you want to pull it out from you, okay? You want to take a deep look inside. You want to pull it out and you want to say, who hurt you? Who hurt you? And then you want to make sure that whatever kind of work you need to do on that shadow, where the hurt and the pain is, where you're feeling angry, where you're feeling unseen, unheard, unconnected to, you want to make sure to start doing that healing work. I'm going to say this again, just in case you're not hearing me. Don't do it alone. You realize if you pull that shadow up for examination, you need somebody who understands your pain, who can hold space for that pain. It's important. So that's in our power right now. Our power is to dive deep in an aggressive way into the wound or the shadow, look at it, and instead of becoming angry at the world and angry at each other, we need to become aggressive healers for the problem, a surgical approach internally to what it is that's causing us to feel like things need to change, things need to move along. So that's important, okay? So I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anything? Because we've got a lot of power energy coming through. Okay, let's talk about sacred law, okay? Sacred law is not the same thing as human law. Sacred law falls under the energy of we put ourselves out there in the world, right? And when you do something of a loving, nurturing, beautiful nature, in sacred law, you've done a right, or I'm going to call it a grace, not only for yourself, but for all those that you touched with that motivation. It's the same if you have a motivation that's harmful to others. It's a form of breaking the sacred law, a harmful attitude toward others. And then you have to come around and learn about that. Sacred law holds everybody accountable. It doesn't matter if law is caught up with you at all. And that's coming from our shadow. So we have this interesting thing where we're supposed to get right with ourselves, but in a loving, nurturing way. This is not about blame. This is not about shame. This is not about casting any kind of negativity, internal or external. It's about finding the negativity, embracing the negativity, working with somebody you trust or people that you trust, processing it, seeing if it's ancestral. Was it something that was passed down through your family, some pain or some wounding that was passed down through your family? Or is it in your lifetime? Did it happen to you specifically? Or is it something that you can't quite pinpoint? Because sometimes there's past life energy that's being born forth that we still need to clear and cleanse. That's like when you don't know why you're afraid of something. I'm afraid of water, but I don't know why. There's no situation I ever had with water. Now, I'm not talking about myself there, but I'm just saying that if you're afraid of water, perhaps in a previous lifetime you drowned. It's one of those things where for a lot of people, you have to approach it as a philosophy. And for those of us who actually are very connected to the idea that time is this beautiful energy that's taking place in all spaces and all dimensions, and past, present, and future happening simultaneously, you're all these different things, knows that you can still bring up things that want completion, whether it was here or somewhere else. So we're getting that opportunity right now to create completion. Do not forget, though, to face your fears, because in your fears, your power also lies. Usually behind somebody's shadow is something beautiful, something that some other person felt threatened by. And so you want to make sure that you remove the shadow so that beautiful thing that someone else was threatened by finally gets a chance to blossom. Maybe you were a very attractive child and people were so envious of your looks that they called you ugly. Maybe you were a very intelligent child and people are so envious of your intelligence they called you a know-it-all. Maybe you were a very naturally talented child and those people who didn't want you to continue to develop that talent because they were feeling competitive against you said that your shit was shit. It's important that you understand that as you pull this shadow up, you're going to find things you failed to develop because somebody embraced you with fear. Okay. Now, this is another saying. I'm not really sure who said the saying, but they say that we either come from fear or from love. Okay. So know where you're coming from. If you're coming from fear, you won't be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish. If you're coming from love, then you can start to gently and carefully nurture those areas that need to be nurtured. Okay. So let's see, ancestral stuff is coming up, soul stuff is coming up. So we got soul family, we got ancestral family, and we got gathering together in groups. But we have more. But wait, there's more. There's always more. I want to talk about yesterday really quickly. So we're in springtime, and out of nowhere, we get a freak snowstorm, okay? And last night, all night, I was getting pelleted by basically, I'm going to use the term snow ice. And it's not really normal to have snow ice here I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. It's not terribly normal to have snow ice at this time of year. And it made me very aware of the fact that we do need to embrace each other with more warmth because, the weather is quite intense and it's speaking to us. And what came up in the reading was Demeter. Okay, you all know that I pull the cards for the oracle for the next 2 weeks, and then I pull a goddess, sometimes a god, and then I pull a journey of love for all of us. And right now, knowing that Demeter came up and she was speaking, did you just say poop energy? That is so funny. Are you having a poop energy time, Lisa? I'm sorry. Try. Okay, remember, I'm sure you've been paying attention to the diet. Okay, your eyes are part of a diet. Consume inspiring things with your eyes, with your ears. Fill yourself so that you can face the shadow, so that we can all move forward together magically. This is a magical time, okay? So, yes, aggression, get that shit under control, because if you don't, you're drinking your own cup of poison. It is true.